Hello everyone and welcome, good evening, good afternoon or good morning wherever you are watching us from in the world. My name is Gogs Brown in the commentary position and we are live for Race Club's UK TED Trax Tuesdays. This is round 5, we are at the Circuit di Enzo e Dino Ferrari. That is of course much more commonly known as Imola. We were absent last week due to some, let's call them, internet issues. Round 4 has been postponed and will take place later on this year. So don't worry, we will be back for the roller coaster at Watkins Glen, but today we are at one of the most historic circuits, not only in Assetto Corsa Competizione, but in the world. Thank you very much for joining us again. We are here, like we said, TED Trax Tuesdays. Let's have a quick look at what is coming up for you this evening. So we have a very interesting format. We've seen this already this season at Silverstone. We have 3 20-minute sprint races, all with their own qualifying session. It's one lap magic, one lap to get all the corners, apexes, all your turn-ins correct and absolutely spot on, increasing the pressure for these pilots. We see that on the right hand side there, so we're going to have, it looks like race 2, maybe a night race, and race 3 will be at sunset. So unique challenges for all of the drivers this evening. I brought it up on the middle of the screen just to draw to your attention the driver tracker map. All drivers represented by a circle and a colour, and you can see the numbers as well. Anyone with a blue circle is not on a valid lap, and anyone with a yellow circle is currently off track or stopped. That will become a lot more prevalent during the qualifying session. So keep that in mind as I knock that down to the bottom right of our screens. And of course, again, if you are new to TED Trax Tuesdays or Race Club UK here on YouTube, you can see on the top right of your screens just now today's weather forecast, at the very least for the next half hour. We have what is going to be a sunny free practice session, or at least the end of the free practice session. 26 degrees air temperature, 33 degrees track temperature. It is a hot, sweltering day here in Modena. So we see as well on the top right how long we have left of the session, just over 7 minutes. And we can see we have the usual suspects at the top of the timing board. But that is today's timing board. Let's have a quick look at the current championship standings. So in the AM class, Andrea Demi is showing as the current championship leader in AM class. Demi not yet in the server. Johnny Clark sitting in the pit lane in the purple and black Ford Mustang is showing as second, with Mark Cedric in the Perel Honda, the 140 car, in third. Chris Dawes in fourth, Stefano Franciosi in fifth. Andrea Gualtieri is in P6, Nico Archer in seventh, Jose Petiz in P8, Chris Cook ninth, and Sammy English rounding out the top 10 in AM class. In the Pro-Am class, just in case as well, sorry, just to be crystal clear, AM class drivers are denoted by the red background next to their number. So Jay Johnston, 777's got a red background, black writing. They are an AM driver. The Pro-Am drivers are denoted by the silver background, such as D. Hutchings, Bellamancia and Van Linter. And of course, Chris Rowlands, who I believe today is, I'm going to say celebrating. We'll come to that in a second, because he is also leading the current championship standings. He leads the championship with 786 points to Lee Watson's 717. Matthias Metzger is in third, Jorgen Lofstrand fourth, James Jarnigan in P5, Tom Hockley sixth, Michael Adenal in P7, Patrick Herman 8th, Gregory Bellamancia in 9th, Duncan Hutchins in 10th, Anthony Hunt in 11th, who's absent this evening, Ken Van Linter, who we've seen very briefly, is 12th, Pete Dalton 13th, Jack Evans 14th, Ross Harris 15th, and George Margitis rounding off the grid in Pro-Am. The Pro category drivers denoted by the white background number plates. As you can see from the timing board, Dan Clegg leads that championship, having at least 1 foot on the top step off the podium at every round so far. Carl Sween tucks in behind him in second, Paul Alex third, Richard Hall fourth, Noor Farher is in fifth, Jack Kraft sixth, Ben Godden seventh, Laz Rampensberger is in eighth, Tom Hacker in at P9, Matteo Simon is behind him in 10th, Dres Flores in 11th, Chris Clements 12th, in 13th we have Royal Hermsen, in 15th we have Ashley Evans, and 16th is Mark Bird. That is the championship order, so we'll keep that in mind as we get underway this evening. We do have 3 races. We've got Dan Clegg there, he is in his green, that trademark green and black BMW. The sensible streamer in the chat showing his eyes, having a good old watch. By all means, please come on, have a look, see what this is all about. This is Assetto Corsa Competizione on Xbox Series X and Series S, and also on PlayStation 5. It is crossplay enabled. So let's have a... Yep, so that's what we've got on just now. Thank you very much for joining us. 3 minutes off, free practice remaining. And we see Dan Clegg taking liberties with the big sausage curb on the inside of that corner. Now I'm going to take some time very quickly to pull up a track map here, because I always forget the corner names around these corners. This is Ravazza 1 and 2, I do know this one. Imola circuit map. That's exactly what I want. Thank you very much, Wikipedia. Now, what was sitting quote stats at you? But turn 1 is Tamburello. We've got the Villeneuve chicane, Tosa, Piratella, Aqua Minerale. Then we have the chicane, second chicane, which we've seen Clegg jump over, Variante Alta, and Ravazza at the bottom. So I was right with that corner. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us. You can see at the top of the screen there, we are sponsored by Ted Trax Racing. Ted Trax Racing, a non-for-profit organisation helping young people get involved with motorsport, whether that be at karting level, at the grassroots level, finding ways to get them opportunities into the wonderful world of motorsport. The other way, of course, you can get involved is through esports, like we are watching just now. Of course, you can get all of the experience, and with the right level of equipment you can get some transferable skills, and this is one of the most realistic simulations out there on the market, available to the general public. Assetto Corsa Competizione, as we see advertised on the banner up ahead, as we see a yellow Ferrari deciding, nope, I'm not taking that chicane today, I am going straight over. That's the car, that's the culprit in question. Couple of late comers to the server yet to set a time. We've got Nico Archer there in the 27 McLaren, the green and blue livery, very distinctive. Yellow flag shown out at turn 1, car 82 who's been off track. We've seen Herman last time out at Austria having an incredible race. They'll be looking to emulate that one around the Red Bull ring as we come here. Dan Clegg showing he's been off track at Tamburello. Maybe just parking up and finalising the setup. We do have 38 seconds remaining. We've got Watson out there as well, Lee Watson for Clara Racing, yet to set a lap time again. Watson had an incredible race last time out. Let's wait and see what they can do. George Margitis, or Jorge Margitis, I don't know how I pronounced that correctly. I know you've told me about 5 times before. Thank you very much for joining us in the chat. Do please keep engaging with us this evening. Glad to have you watching, along with any other eyes interested. That is the checkered flag out then. No more new laps can start as Flores decides he's had enough. This is Carl Sween, this is the contender for the championship. Mr. Sween, the American in the Grello Porsche, rounds Ravazza 2, and he decides he's going into the pit now as well for his practice pit stop, as he goes far too quickly into the pits. Herman comes across the line, tries to improve, nothing doing on this occasion. Car number 7's next across the line. That is Watson, and Watson does not set a valid lap, so that is the end of free practice. Now we are ready for one lap magic, one hot lap to get the job done. Jose Petit's in chat saying he hopes no one dies today. That is a good thing, let's hope that is the case. We have 29 drivers in the server this evening. That is a good turnout considering we do have some other competition to contend with. Paul Alex is out in front again. We've seen this pattern before. Alex coming out first with Clegg behind, both of them desperate to get track position. Dad JC in the chat, hey guys, hey you. Thank you very much for joining us. Do give us a shout. What is your favourite car? That is the poll for this evening. I want to know from the YouTube chat what you guys think is the best livery you can see on the track this evening. Do leave comments, do get in touch, leave your vote, and I will be announcing the winner of that one at the end of this race, along with driver of the day. We are now in the first minute already. We don't have everyone out on track as of yet. Everyone just trying to build their gaps to make sure they are able to get a good qualifying lap in. Dan Clegg does have a big Aston Martin rear wing in his vision. I don't know if that will be beneficial. He will get a toe down that straight, but is it going to be more of a hindrance come the end of the race? This is Pete Dalton in the Ferrari coming round Variante Alta. Like the France-Spain game. Now I'm going to ask no one to post spoilers on the YouTube chat. Not for my benefit, just more for the guys' benefits here, because obviously they cannot watch the game. I may or may not have 2 screens on at the same time. So Paul Alex is coming round. Where is he? He started his hot laps. This is him here. He's got Dan Clegg and he's got a car just in front now. You'll need to be cautious of that. And now we're going to come on board with the Ferrari driver, the man from down under, to give us a track guide this evening off the Autodromo Enzo Edino Ferrari Imola. He comes across the start finish line here. It is not a straight, it's a couple of curves. Turn 1 doesn't really count. You pink your braking point round about the orange barrier on the right. He gets his foot down and gets it turned in. The Ferrari is very cautious over the curbs, and he gets the power planted. Let it drift over to the right, and now you've got to steel yourself for the Villeneuve chicane. Tricky braking on the way in, and it's all about getting a smooth exit for the short run down to the Tosa hairpin. But you can overtake in here in the GT cars. We'll see if that's something that can be done during the race. Again, a good exit is important for the run up the hill. Now we've got the corner that I keep forgetting the name, the long, fast left-hander. You want to get an early apex, but don't run too far wide. And now it's the run down to Variante Alta, the hardest corner on the course. You need to get the braking just right. Dalton looks to have just made sure he's not crossing any white lines through Aqua Minerale. On the short burst now down to Variante Alca. High sausage curved on the apex. You can take the first one, careful over the second one, and can run onto the rumble strips on the exit. Look at the left hand side of your screen, you will see the lap times being set by some of the drivers. These are the early benchmarks. The run that they're into Ravazza 1, not as important as Ravazza 2, uses as much as the entrance curve to widen the apex and get his foot on the power early. Pit lane's on the right, but he's going forward to complete his lap over the start finish grid. Keep it over to the right for the shortest run to the line. Pete Dalton goes up into P4. That's a good lap from the Australian. Rampensberger now coming round the final corner. A couple of cars, of course, just in front. There's the timing board again on the left. Carl Sween is just tucked in behind. What can both of these drivers do? Rampensberger very quick, of course, back at Silverstone. Goes into P3. That's a good lap. And we're not watching Sween. He's about to jump up. If he's set a valid lap. We've not seen his time pop up there, so maybe Sween's not been able to, or maybe Sween's just started his lap. Is the American, so we'll come and check back in with him because Chris Clements now comes over to take his lap time. What can he do? Up into P4. What a lap from Clements. Now the driver tracker is going to start tumbling its times down and down. Car number 95 is now coming across the line. There's Ben Gordon coming into the pits. He likes a good in-lap. Tom Hockley now in the Ted Trax racing car. The Lamborghini has decided that he is going to play World Rally Championship. That's the wrong night. WRC is a different night for Race Club UK. The Pink Panther, he's expressed his joy at being referred to as the Pink Panther, so he will not have that nickname from now until the end of the season. What can Barros do in the 444? Barros is a good lap. He's up into P8. It's not quite enough, unfortunately, but it's a very good lap. Archer now coming round the final corner as well. Doesn't use all of the track. This might just be a banker lap. He's watched some of the other guys not set lap time, so maybe he's just looking to get a time on the board. But Archer comes round and puts a time there on the board as advertised. Carl Sween comes round and goes into P3. He's 7/10 off the time set by Dan Clegg. But it's a very tight grid, and look how closely packed they are from Carl Sween all the way down to Jorgen Lofstrand. Very close gaps, but that is the magic that happens when you have one lap to put it all together. But the man who has managed to do it once again, Dan Clegg, 1 minute 41.755 and all three fastest sectors from the reigning Race Club UK champion. So let's have a run. Look at the order of the grid for race 1 of round 5 Ted Trax Tuesdays here at Imola. We'll start from the rear and we will work our way up. Tom Hockley, who we've seen there, deciding that he was going to try and dig some sandcastles in the gravel. It will spring up the back of the grid, and he'll have Jarnigan alongside him in the Lexus to start off. Sammy English in the Bentley Continental was absent last time out, but they have joined the server this time, and they'll be alongside Gregory Bellamancia in the Nissan. Johnston and Margitis side by side, 26th and 25th, with Van Linter 24th and Archer alongside him. Frankie Ossi in the 22nd and Clark in the Mustang in 21st. Hutchings and Adenauer on row 10, Cedric and Cook on row 9 side by side. Jorgen Lofstrand, who we mentioned earlier on, is P16 with Herman in 15th. Watson is 14th with Metzger alongside them. The current Pro-Am leader Rowlands is 12th with Kraft in P11. Now into the top 10, row 5 sees Hall and Barros side by side. Incredible lap from Dalton to go pole position for the Pro-Am class in 8th overall. Ben Gordon, who was in the chat, who we just missed, setting exactly the same time as Dalton, but takes 7th by virtue of completing the lap first. Chris Clements in 6th with Flores alongside them. Row 2 sees Rampensberger and Sween side by side. We've seen that front second row in the past, just as at the season opener, Paul Alex and Dan Clegg takes pole position. That is the order of the race. Big congratulations to Chris Cook for taking pole in AM class, and like we said, Dalton just nipping to pole in silver.
30 seconds.
30 seconds remain until Dan Clegg gets us underway here at Imola for race 1. We do have a 20-minute sprint race, no mandatory pit stops. This is a battle to the end. I'm going to take a short break just to get a quick refreshment so I don't lose my voice during this race. Do not go anywhere, I will be right back. Hello everyone, thank you very much for waiting. We are back here for Race Club UK TED Trax Tuesdays. This is race 1 of round 5. Race 4 of course postponed until the latter end of the season. That's CJ being very engaging in the chat, thank you very much. Again, everyone watching, please let me know what you think your favourite livery you can see on the track this evening. We'll have a little vote and we'll see who has been the most creative with their paint package this evening. So we have a 20-minute sprint race here. This in-game time 3 PM, 26 degrees. It's a very hot one. The tyres might begin to should be okay for the 20 minutes, but some of the more aggressive driving styles might see a little bit of graining throughout this race. Maybe a little bit of tyre management needed, but the track will be nice, hot and sticky, just the way we like it here at Race Club UK. That will give the drivers enough grip to push as hard as they can for the 20 minutes. Jose Patisse in the best livery is not there, it's his. Why is it not there? That is the problem, it's not on the track. Even if it was in the pit lane, we could cast our vote, but we cannot obviously. If you're not in, you can't win. So, Dan Clegg is still out in front. There he is in the BMW. The big massive engine at the front. The helicopters picked up the leaders. As they enter the final sector, and now Dan Clegg's going to have to bunch them all up because they're still coming round Variante Alta. I'm sure it's Variante Bassa. I do forget all the names off the track. I'm going to forget forever and ever it is Variante Alta. As they come round Ravazza, Dan Clegg's now on the start-finish straight already. So let's quickly refresh. Dan Clegg on the left, Paul Alex on the right. Row 2 is Sween and Rampensberger. Sween in the Grello Porsche. Then we have the Ford Mustang of Flores with Clements in the 15 BMW alongside him. Who is going to win the first race as we await the green flag here at Imola? We're still red. We've got 4 watching the race start, and we are green, green, green here at Imola. It's an incredible start from Carl Sween. He's in the toe of Clegg. Clegg's going to have to go a little bit defensive, and he leaves a little bit less than a Porsche's width. Some cars kicking up the dust on the way back, but Sween is back down into P3. Paul Alex retains second as they come through the grid. They've got Barros off track, needs to be cautious on his rejoin. He's able to keep out of everyone's way. And there's a huge multi-car crash at the back off the grid. Bella Mancia involved in that one. Huge crash as they all sort everything out. But underway at the front, Dan Clegg has led Paul Alex, leads Carl Sween, leads Rampensberger up the hill into Piratella for the first time this evening in anger. Dalton leads Roland in Pro-Am class, with Kraft just bringing back out round at the top 10. And they've got a car on the grass coming out of Piratella. That is Herman, who's lost a couple of places as a result. Archer has continued. The driver tracker not quite updated itself. Margitas is now bringing up the rear. So Dan Clegg's got away relatively cleanly. Paul Alex behind and Sween in P3 as you were in the front 6. Clean driving all around. Godden's just tucked into the back of Chris Clements because they come down the start finish straight for the first time into Tamburello. The first real overtaking opportunity. It's BMW versus BMW. There's no real car advantage at this time, but Godden is closing. He's closing. He showed his nose to the inside and nothing doing just yet, but a little bit further back there's 2 cars side by side. It's a contact. Metzger has hit the back of Jack Kraft's Lamborghini, and that's put many cars out of position as they come around now into the Villeneuve chicane. The 3 wide, 4 wide almost. Metzger still holding up. That Lamborghini swings in. Hutchings has kept a position, gained a position. Cedric has lost the rear of his Peril Honda, and that's caused Adenal to slow down and open the door for Kraft to try and go round the outside, round the outside, round the outside. Sammy English in the big old Bentley. Love to see the Bentley back on track as well. Do it running well out there. Bellamancia has been taken by Margitas as they come through Villeneuve up the hill to Toza. Incredible action here in the first couple of minutes, as always to be expected with Ted Trax Tuesdays here at Race Club UK on YouTube. Whew, I could take a quick minute to try and catch my breath as we watch some of these drivers now try and settle into a rhythm after the high pressure start. Yellow flags out showing for car number 27. That's Nico Archer, who's been off. He's now a couple of corners behind. He's still off again. He's all the way over Variante Alta. The side of that McLaren's taken a big smash. So once again we're watching Ben Godden try his best to reel in the back of Chris Clements' BMW. He thinks better off at this time. One of the trickier places to overtake, of course, is Imola, but Clements has not had the best of exits coming out of Tamburello, and that's going to maybe open the door. Clements goes defensive, and a little cheeky nudge, a Max Verstappen-esque nudge to the outside. No contact made on this occasion as both of them get through the Villeneuve chicane safely. Hutchings is under pressure, he runs a little bit wide. Kraft is at the door, he's had the door slammed in his face on the way into Toza. But look at the exit he's got a superior traction coming out of there. Lamborghini versus McLaren. Of course the McLaren been nerfed since his performance earlier on this season. Again, Nico Archer, yellow flag shown at Tamburello and now returned to the pit lane. That might be him out for race 1. But the Ted Trax racing car did its absolute utmost to get himself ahead of Hutchings. They come up to Variante Alta now over the big sausage curb, and they're bringing along Michael Adenal very nicely. This little pack here, of course there's another little pack just behind. We're watching Barros try and recover. Just behind this lot, there he is there. You've got Sammy English just in front of him. We're on board with the McLaren as the Bentley has to brake early because it's so large on Barros. Fair play to Barros there, decided to take himself to the gravel to avoid a collision. That is incredible sportsmanship, and that's exactly what we love to see here at Race Club UK. Ben Gordon has been absolutely relentless. He's not letting Clements have any respite. As Clements has run a little bit wide, he did carry more speed, but Gordon's on a better exit, and now he's going to be really applying the pressure up the hill, and this is the run now up to Piratella. They both nail the apex absolutely bang on, both these big BMWs. Flores in the Mustang is looking very racy as well. He is all over the back end of Rampensberger. Flores has shown signs of speed all throughout the season. Gordon's got himself in front. Gordon has got himself in front of Clements, but Clements is not going to let it go. He's still tucked up in the slipstream, and if he can carry on that speed. Margita saying he's always paying the mistakes from others and can't understand why. Confucius might say, if you're always involved in the incidents, it might be time to look inwards to see what you can do to avoid being involved. As Gordon's trying desperately to break the tone, we've got a good battle developing behind this lot as well. As we try and watch Hall get past the Pro-Am drivers, he goes down the inside of Rollins. Rollins keeps the position. Of course, there's no mandatory reason to move out of the way. You don't have to move. That's something we do need to remember, as Watson is now defending from Lofstrand. They almost go side by side into Villeneuve. It is possible, but not advised to go side by side through there. But it can be done. Flores has got himself in front of Rampensberger now. Like we said, we've seen pace shown from Flores all season long, just getting to grips with the new machine to Assetto Corsa Competizione. That is the muscle car, that is the Ford Mustang. These two still going to be showing as a great battle, both BMWs, as Lofstrand's almost pushing Watson down the straight. You can see how close they are at the back. We are a team on the back of that BMW. These two are not a team, even though they're in the same car. But it looks like Watson's got superior traction coming out of Variante Alta under the silly banner into Ravazza 1. And we'll see, we'll just listen. Lofstrand, once he put his foot on the throttle, he was confident enough that he did not have to take it off, and now he's got a good slipstream coming down the main straight. This is BMW versus BMW power. There's no advantage. Watson's got the inside line and the little left kink before the Tamburello chicane. Makes it very difficult to find a way past there cleanly. Oh, once again, the potentially looking for the move round Villeneuve. He's all over the back of Rollins, and Rollins might be wiser to maybe just let him go. They're not racing for position. There is, of course, a overall championship, but they're not in each other's class, and it might be causing them both time. This little pack here as we watch just in front. Barros has finally got himself alongside Sammy English. Can he make something work into Toza? He's not able to, but English leaves him room on the exit, and that will have compromised the Bentley's straight line speed up the hill. The Bentley does not need any more straight line speed anyway. on the way into Piratella.
Halfway through, keep pushing.
And Barros sweeps round the outside and takes the position, but now Sammy English needs to be careful because he's got several cars now tucked in behind him. He's got Bella Mancia and Kraft in the Trax racing car, still battling hard at the back of the grid. This is for 21st position. And look at the action those guys are giving us. So with the battle Rollins is having, he's now fallen a couple of seconds behind Dalton. Dalton will welcome that little breathing room as Rollins now still concentrating on keeping Hall behind. Hall, of course, trying to catch up with the pro pack at the front. Jack Crafts just managed to keep James Jernigan behind in the Lexus, but watch this Lexus fly. The fastest car in a straight line on Assetto Corsa is demonstrating exactly the advantage that brings on a track with a long straight such as this. Can the Lamborghini? There's contact up ahead, and they've not managed to avoid it. Huge contact. A little bit of a spin for Kraft and Jernigan, and that's caused them some issue, but that's going to bring back Frank Yossi into the fray. He's maybe going to pick up a position here for the recovering Trax racing car. So we have done 12 minutes of racing. Clegg's ahead at the front by 2 seconds. There he is, there's our race leader. Similar gap back to P3 to Carl Sween and Andres Flores in 4th. Rampensberger again also been pegged at about a second and a half. Ben Gordon's a couple of seconds behind this lot, sitting in P6. Chris Clements in 7th. Dalton leads the Pro-Am charge in P8 with Hall in 9th for the Piston Breakers. Rollins rounds out the top 10 as Hall's finally managed to become the meat in that sandwich. Watson sits 11th, Lofstrand 12th, Metzger 13th, Cook 14th, Hutchings 15th, Adenau 16th, Clark 17th, Herman 18th, Hockley 19th, then Barros, Johnston, Van Linter, Jernigan, Bellamancia, English, Frank Yossi, Kraft, Cedric and Archer. Adenau, it looks like, has just managed to squeeze past Hutchings on that last lap. The Honda driver running, I'm not going to say anything, commentator's curse, let's keep that one quiet. Flores is closed up to the back of Carl Sween, the Porsche not running well around here, it looks like. We're of course expecting such a high standard from Carl Sween. He's been absolutely rapid this season. On the same pace as Dan Clegg, just maybe the luck not working out, or the strategy, or the last thing out as well at the Red Bull Ring didn't quite suit his car with the wet, damp conditions, the changeable conditions. But he set such a high standard for himself that we're shocked to see the Mustang now begin to close in on him. We look backwards from that Grello Porsche and we see the Mustang, that gap, that pocket of air, the slipstream, pulling the Mustang towards him. But it's not enough on this occasion, and as we can see, we actually can see just how much speed that Mustang is able to carry through that chicane. It really is making a difference. Metzger side by side with Watson. This is a close one. This is 4th position in class. Metzger side by side. Watson turns in and there's contact, and that one might be looked at by the stewards a little bit later on. That wasn't the cleanest of situations. Close battle here. So what's happened to Cedric? Cedric and English battling down for P27. The back end not playing in that Honda. So Metzger's now beginning to struggle a little bit. He's got Cook behind him for company. As Meskers ran way over the rumble strips and onto the runoff at Variante, that's at Aqua Minerale as they make their way towards Aqua I've got my corners all mixed up, but the pusher's down the inside, it's went deep. He's cut the corner. He'll have to give that position back and be careful not to spin it actually, as he almost spins it rejoining. Big action going on here then. The gap is now under half a second between Sween and the Grello Porsche as the Mustang pulls over to the inside, shows his nose, thinks about a move, just trying to put the Porsche driver off. A little bit further ahead, Dan Clegg's now coming to lap his first car off this evening. Only 16 minutes in the race. Of course, the green and blue McLaren has seen some action and been in the wall, or in the wars rather. Hall is now under pressure. That's Dalton under pressure through Toza. Ferrari versus Ferrari up the hill. That's a good shot there, all the leaders in one shot. We've got the lap car, of course, in the way. Is that going to interfere in this battle for the final podium position as Sween tries to get a little toe as he plants his right foot to the carpet of that Porsche. Now what is going to happen here? The Sween's having to be extra careful. The McLaren moves out of the way, but that's going to compromise Flores on exit. Now that car might have just seen Sween live to fight another day. Yellow flags out for car number 10 on the X of Toza. That is Van Linters with a little spin coming up the hill and now just sitting in front of Francose as they get even closer, but not close enough for Flores. But Flores has got an incredible exit, has to move out of the racing line to avoid contact with the American. And Carl Sween might be beginning to struggle as they both run a little bit wide. That was a great opportunity for Flores, but he's not been able to take advantage as they both ran a little bit wide. A little squeeze of oversteer at the back end of that Porsche, not wanting to play in the grunt of the Mustang as they're side by side on the way to Paratella. The Mustang's going to have a better exit as Sween is compromised on the run down to Aqua Minerale. He's got the inside line, but it's Flores who sweeps round the outside and does enough to take the position. But this one is not over yet. They're still battling. Carl Sween is an absolute warrior. And there's a lot of curb being taken by that Mustang, but you know what? The Mustang looks like it can handle the curbs. That is an interesting revelation for anyone who's thinking of driving it in any sim racing or esports event coming up. The Mustang looks like it handles curbs very nicely. Now Carl Sween, no slouch. Sim grid rating of over 3,000. As Dan Clegg goes to start the final lap. We'll stick with this battle on the way down into turn 1. I don't think the Porsche has the straight line speed. It's got a toe, but Flores looks to have the pace. But when you're behind someone, it's a lot easier to follow them and adjust your line based on what they can do. You lose maybe a tenth or two as soon as you get past someone, as you don't have them as your reference anymore. But it looks like now Flores has escaped that curse and he's now pulling a little bit of a gap. Now half a second splits the two of them. Hall is still stuck behind Dalton. Dalton again, there's no need to move out of the way. He's going to make Hall do it the hard way. He leaves room. The Australian leaves room. This might be time. But the Australian's got the inside line. He's going to force Hall to go round the outside of Aqua Minerale, and that's not a place you can get a move done. He's getting a little bit impatient now. But Dan Clegg has led from green light to checkered flag. The veteran, the reigning Race Club UK champion, comes over the start finish line to take the checkered flag for race 1. Dan Clegg. Paul Alex comes home in second. Flores is going to take the final podium position from Sweden in the last couple of laps. Rampensberger home a respectable P5. This is Ben Godden just trying to lap Archer at the last minute, with Clements following him home. Dalton's going to hold on for a great P8 with Hall taking 9th. Lofstrand's going to come home and take P10. We've got a last minute drive-through penalty for one of our drivers as Watson and Rowlands cross the line. Metzger is just ahead of Cook. Michael Adenauer comes home in P15. Herman's going to be 16th with Hutchins 17th, Barros 18th. Clark comes across the line in P19, Hockley 20th. These guys are still racing back there. Jack Kraft, however, in the other Trax racing car is going to drop right down the order. Belamantia just needs to follow him home, as Kraft will have the drive-through penalty time of 30 seconds added to his race time. Thought that was a car on the wall in the background. It's just a flare being lit by the virtual crowd as James Jarnigan gets the Lexus home in P25. These guys are still racing out there. Frank Chiossi, great comeback through the field. Take 25th overall, that's 4th in class. Sammy English takes 5th in class. Cedric in that diva of a Honda is going to come home 27th. Van Linter 28th. And Archer and Margitis not taking the checkered flag, did not finish. And that is the end of the first race here at Imola. We're going to wait a couple of virtual in-game hours, but we'll be with you momentarily. We have another one-lap magic qualifying session coming up for you, but this time the sun is going to be setting and it is going to look spectacular round this circuit. So we have a 5-minute qualifying session. We'll then have another 20-minute race, and this time it's going to be a night race. It's going to be cooler, the drivers will push harder, but the visibility and the challenges of picking your braking point, making sure you get every apex, watching the cars in front is going to be much more difficult as the visibility will be reduced. Then we'll do it all again in the perfect conditions for race 3. Again, I'm going to take another short break. Do not go anywhere, we'll be right back.
Green light, show them what you got.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for waiting for us as we get ourselves underway for race 2 here at Imola. This is the second qualifying session and we are ready for another one-shot qualifying session, one and done. One lap magic. Last time we had one lap magic from Dan Clegg in the BMW. He's first out of the garage this time, and he's got Metzger hot on his heels for track position. A lot of other drivers taking their time in this race. 111 of Hall is going to be next out. Qualifying, of course, as we've seen, so important. If you qualify out of position, you might end up as a part of someone else's accident. George Margitis there coming on the chat to state that's what happened to him in race 1. That can happen to anyone, so it's so important to try and get yourself out on track in the best possible position. So we're already a minute into this qualifying session, already looks less busy. That just means the end of the session is going to be busier. The first session is always frantic as we get underway. That's just everyone wanting to make sure they get their lap in on time. Now we've had a practice run almost at it. The drivers all feel a bit more confident about maybe leaving it a little bit later to start their lap. So Dan Clegg's round the final corner now, and this time we're going to stick with the Englishman as he completes a lap in the glorious sunset here at Imola. So on the way down now into turn 1, this is Tamburello. Hooks up those apexes absolutely perfectly, and looks to be very confident on the throttle, but he's got car number 7 just ahead of him. That is Watson, who we've seen earlier on. He takes a big chunk of that sausage curve, does Dan Clegg, but no problem. Round Toza, he does clip a late apex. He's really got a great exit up the hill as well, but we can now see him closing in on the back of his fellow BMW driver, and this is where it might not have been the best shot for him to jump out there right away. He looks like he's maybe left a little bit of performance on the table through Acqua Minerale, and now he's on to Variante Alta. Well, look to take a hop, skip and a jump over these apexes. Back end almost stepping away from him there. Comes down this short back straight under the Silly banner, the Silly bridge, into Ravazza 1, and then the tighter, the open Ravazza 2, which leads on to the start finish straight. He's going to time this one absolutely perfectly. He's going to get a lovely little slipstream. On to the start finish straight is our Dan Clegg as he comes across the line. 141.7. There's got multiple cars out there on track. Keep an eye on the timing board on the left as Flores has binned it. Metzger has binned it. Van Linter is going to come across the track next. What can he do? Van Linter does not set a time on this occasion. Maybe it wasn't out lap, but Hall has gone into P2 provisionally. Johnston in the AM class in the Mercedes. We've seen many Mercedes this season. What can he do? Didn't set a time in the Mad Panda car. Yellow flags are showing for some of the drivers round there. This is Jorgen Lofstrand. Comes across the line now. He does manage to set a lap time. Carl Sween. And he might be doing a late lap again. I think he's just got across the line and no more. Has the American. So that is it. That is the checkered flag. Now that is Jorgen. Takes a celebratory shot into the wall. He needs to be careful because some guys are still on their laps. Watson coming round. He's going to jump into the pits. He's been out there already. There's the 444 car of Barros, the Pink Panther. He's coming round the final corner now. He manages to keep it within the track limits. He's going to have his right foot to the floor, up through the gears, the revs building in that McLaren. He comes across the line. What can he do? He goes into P6. That's a better lap from Barros. Van Linter across the line now, goes into P14. This is Johnston. We're on board with Mad Panda car. He's dragging along Jack Kraft. No, he's not. He's dragging along someone behind him. Car 95 into the pits. And he goes up into P17. That's 4th place in AM class. It is Carl Sween who's going to be the next driver across the line on a valid lap. He comes across the line now. What can he do? Can he challenge Dan Clegg for pole position of race 2? He can't. He's still in P3. And that's the end of qualifying 2. And those positions are now confined to the history books. So, a quick rundown of the order again. Race 2 will see Dan Clegg start on pole. The gap is a lot less this time as Paul Alex is in 2nd place, 2 tenths behind. Carl Sween will start on row 2 alongside Chris Clements. Ben Gordon and Hall will start 5th and 6th respectively. Barros, hoping to avoid contact this time, starts 7th with Lofstrand taking pole position for Pro-Am. Rollins again 2nd, just misses out once again. Rampensberger rounds out the top 10, and we have 2 silver cars amongst the Pro Pigeons. Flores did not hook it together, but we've seen their pace in race 1. Can they climb out from the bottom outside the top 10 into a solid finish? Herman 12th. Cook takes pole position in AM class with Cedric only 2 tenths behind. Good performance there. Dalton down in 15th this time, not hooking the lap up in the sunset. Van Linter 16th, Clark 17th, Johnston 18th. Franciosi is in P19, Adenal in 20th. Archer 21st, with Sammy English 22nd in the big old Bentley. Metzger, Margitas, Kraft, Bellamancia, Hutchins, Jarnigan, Watson and Hockley did not manage to set a valid time. So that is the starting order for race 2. We have a minute 28 before Dan Clegg gets us underway, and we can see the visibility has already dropped. We can see that the sun's just beginning to go down, so it's going to be dark air, but still light enough for the drivers. Right, so 30 seconds remaining then.
30 seconds.
This is race 2. Dan Clegg, you have to think, is the favourite to take another win. But what we'll do this time on the formation lap is we'll just show you around the track. We've had a preview. We'll have a look round of where the action points may or may not
10
be.
seconds.
As we have 10 seconds remaining. Once again, a big shout out to Ted Trax Racing for making this season possible at Race Club UK. One, of course, the many great things they do is they find their way, they manage to help young people get kick-started off in motorsport through various levels. They'll host various functions, and it is a very great cause. It is a non-for-profit organisation. Do check them out. Ted Trax Racing. A quick search on your favourite search engine. Hell, I'm sure you even used a little bit of AI, a little bit of Chat GPT or Microsoft Copilot. I'm sure one of those guys even know about Trax racing. Have a little look, see all the good work that they do, because they really do incredible work. And of course they've made this venture possible, this esports, this sim racing, another way for youngsters to get involved in motorsport at a fraction of the cost and none of the danger. This Hall gets very opportunistic. So, let's have a little look at the back of the grid here. This is Tom Hockley, who didn't set a lap time in the Trax racing car camp, the Villeneuve chicane. It's possible to overtake if you've got the inside line there, but you need to be cautious and give space, because the next one, the curb on the inside of that second part, could easily throw you out. This is Toza Hairpin from the view of Hutchings. Not really an overtaking spot, but you can get a better run up the hill here and create opportunities into Piratella, but again, only if you're really alongside is this an overtaking opportunity, because the braking zone's about here. Not a large braking zone, not a lot of time to pull up to the car in front. The Bentley, the camera on the other side, because the steering wheel is on the correct side of the car. This is the view on the way to Aqua Minerale, and you can see the sunset in the background. Absolutely beautiful. Tricky to get the braking right through there, only really one line, and if you go too wide you'll head up on the sausage curbs on the inside. This is the view from Frank Yossi's McLaren on the way into Variante Alta. Look at the height of these sausage curbs here on the inside of these apexes, but you can overtake through there as a car recovering to the track. The 51 car, is that Jarnigan? Rampensberger, so he's got to jump his way through the field. There he is, ghosting his way through. We'll jump back to the front of the grid because Paul Alex is desperate to get us underway. Dan Clegg rolls alongside him now. Well, this is race 2. I'm not going to be drawn into a debate about which side of the car the steering wheel should be on. However, this is now the start to race 2. The sun is going down, the excitement is going up, and the tension, as ever, can be cut with a knife as we await the green flag for race 2. Still waiting. And we are green. Our patience is rewarded as the Aston Martin bogs down off the start once again, and Carl Sween looks to pull alongside him this time and make the move for second down into turn 1. Paul Alex gives him no room at all, and a little bit of door banging, but they make it through. A little bit further back, there's more contact. Archer again involved. There's Barros, they're facing the wrong way. That yellow Ferrari, that looks like the Australian facing the wrong way as the Mustang rejoins in front of some other cars. Up at front, no. Look at this. It's Clegg who leads. That is Clements. Clegg's down in third. Carl Sween has taken the lead. Flashing lights from Chris Clements as they come up to Piratella for the first time. Carl Sween has taken the lead with Clements in P2, Dan Clegg down in third, with Paul Alex in fourth. Lofstrand is joining the battle in fifth. Chris Cook in sixth. Rampensberger seventh. Cedric all the way up to in P8. Incredible start. Flores down in P10. We've missed somebody out in the order. I'm sure the driver tracker will eventually update herself. Dan Clegg has just jumped the track, it looks like. What's happened there? Or has Sween been off? Maybe there was contact and he's allowed Clegg back through, and if that is the case, that's incredible sportsmanship. Big gap showing there between car number 85, it's Jack Kraft, and Sammy English. Sammy English is off at Ravazza. He's lost many positions as Jarnigan almost runs into the back of him as well. Flashing lights from Metzger. So end of lap 1 then. And there's more potential moves here. Archer moves out to the inside of a, looks like a heavily damaged BMW from Watson. Nothing happening on this occasion. Belamantia is of course looking very, very hungry and wants to get involved in this action. The power of that GTR engine takes the inside of the Villeneuve chicane, but Archer swings around as a four-wheel drift is initiated by the good, the bad and the ugly driver. As they're now side by side. The Nissan's got Poole, there's no doubt about that, as he almost outdrags his opponent on the way to Piratella, and again a little squeeze on the way in. There's huge contact. Rampensberger's off track, lost the rear in the braking. Cook now defending from Flores as Flores takes the inside line into Variante Alta. Cedric is thinking about that as well. The meatball flag is showing for, that is for Cook, as his lights aren't on. A little bit further back, look at this, there's so much tight racing as Jarnigan jumps the big sausage curbs. Hockley has got English all over the back of him as the field now slowly begins to spread out as the sun falls here at Imola. But the excitement never stops, because this Bentley, as we all know, is one of the fastest cars in a straight line, and he's just going to be pulling that Lamborghini. And look at the difference, the clothing speed. The Bentley having to back off in a straight line, not to run into the back of the Lamborghini on that occasion. So 2 laps in then, Dan Clegg leads Carl Sween, who leads Clements, Paul Alex in 5th, Ben Godden 6th. A little bit of a gap now forming as Lofstrand holds off Flores, Cook and Cedric. Rampensberger, who we've seen spin, is now down there in P11, just behind Herman in 10th. Clark, Hutchins, Watson, Bellamancia, Metzger, Archer, Hall, Hockley, English, Jarnigan, Dalton, Banchiosi, Rowlands, Van Linter, Barros, Johnston and Clark. Adenal is in the pits. His teammate, however, is flying high in P8. Incredible performance by both of these AM class drivers. Yellow flags out there now showing for car 121. That's Sammy English, the Bentley drivers, in the wall at Variante Alta, and he almost crashes into car number 10. That's Kevin Van Linter in the BMW. They're still side by side though. That battle's going to continue down to Ravazza. Doesn't look like to be any damage on that Bentley, so it's going to be able to continue and challenge. Cedric side by side, and they've now made contact. Cedric and Cook coming together at Tamburello chicane. Needs to be cautious on his rejoin, does the Honda driver, but that's him now down to the back of the grid after that incident. Paul Alex has got himself ahead of Clements, and Clements is in trouble as Godin now looks to make his way through. Round Piratella they go. This is now the run down to Aqua Minerale, not usually again an overtaking spot. And Godin thinks better of it, as they both were a little bit wide there. That's the pressure being relieved a little bit then. So Cook's not out there, miles ahead, and Cedric for his spin, actually, there he is there in the Honda, not actually lost too much time, so he'll be pleased with that outcome. Well, he'll be more pleased than he would have been if he had dropped down the order. This is Pete Dalton, who had an incredible race 1, but now is trying to navigate this circuit with the front bumper, which looks like it's barely hanging on. The paintwork damage highlights what's going on. Another contact. Barros facing the wrong way again at Piratello 1, just like they were in the first race. Barros not making their life very easy this evening. So good battling going on here. We've got 4 cars running 2x2, and just ahead we've got a bit of action going on as well between Godin, Lofstrand and Flores now joined the action. This is Herman chasing down the back of the AM class leader Cook up there in P8. Cook running a very good race. And just behind Kraft, and oh, a little bit of a nudge as they come through Aqua Minerale. Luckily no lasting impact between the two of them just now. That Porsche, oh, the Lamborghini looks very out of shape coming over the curves there. Under the silly banner they go. The two Porsches almost identical in performance coming round Ravazza 1. It's of course one of the more difficult tracks to overtake on. Race Club UK has not been here in a while. I think the last time Race Club UK featured here was back in their very special Race for Fertility that they done here as well, the Cross League collaboration event, which I was also present for as well. So it's been a while since Race Club UK has been here. So maybe just shaking the rust off in the first couple of minutes, and now they're into the rhythm again. Tricky, of course, this first sector. This almost invite contact. This is the closest Herman's looked actually to the back of Cook. And look, you can see just the back end of that Porsche in Herman's face. He gets so close to the back of him round there. Maybe a move going to open up here. He's going to have to be late on the brakes. Cook feels the need to go defensive, and they're side by side, almost a little bit of contact as Rampensberger looks to try and take advantage of these two squabbling, and Rampensberger now looks very racy. That McLaren is all over the back of Herman, and one of the joys of multi-class racing, you do end up in these kind of situations where you have different drivers of different speeds approaching each other and nobody has priority. As we watch Hall running wide on Ravazza 1, and that might, and it's compromised Metzger on the exit of Ravazza 2. Hall has moved up a couple of positions. Hall's gained from that situation. And they're side by side, and whoa, no, we've moved again, and Chris Cook has fallen down the order from P8 down to P11 as Herman, Rampensberger and Kraft all make moves at their expense. Cook's now on the back of Kraft, and we'll see if this lot are able to provide us with any more entertainment, as they really have been the stars of the show. Yellow flags and pit lane showing for car 444. That is Felipe Barros. He's possibly thrown in the towel for the remainder of this race. And they've got a car running wide. That is Herman's ran wide, and that's allowed Rampensberger through. But is it going to allow Kraft through? It has. Cook is the next one who's going to try and take advantage of this, and now Cook and Herman side by side with each other once again. Rampensberger and Kraft through, just now in different orders. This is now the battle for P4. If we look a little bit further up in front, we're watching now. This is Sween. Carl Sween has lost his gap to Paul Alex. Now we've seen this in the first races, that Porsche's performance just fell off a cliff about 15 minutes in. And now we've got an Aston Martin, the Symphony of Evil, the jet black Bond villain car, chasing the Porsche down up the hill into Pivatella. And you can see just how much harder that Porsche is having to push. Some pace out at the front, remember. Dan Clegg does hold the fastest lap just now, but again, it's only a couple of seconds between this lot. Car 919, that's Bellamancia. It's been off track at Toza, and he needs to get out of the way for the two cars coming through. He dives aggressively off the track to do so, but he does avoid any potential collisions, so that's good driving from the Nissan driver. And he's joined now as he must have a lot of damage. And they've got a drive-through penalty. Tom Hockley playing hard, fast and loose with the track limits at the top of the hill at Pivatella. And there's contact catching it all on this lap. Johnston and Frank Yossi coming together at Pivatella as well. Lofstrand just behind. Oh, we've got a car off! That's Sween. Sween's been off. Sween's lost multiple positions. He's been off at Tamburello. And he's now fallen behind Rampensberger now. So Rampensberger up to P8. P7. So that puts Ben Godden up into third. And he's now leading a group of cars behind him. So that's now a tasty little battle for the final podium position. This is Jack Kraft. He's got Herman all over his back end. And Cook has been dragged along nicely by that lot as well. And it's interesting to point out that Cedric has not managed to catch up that gap. I do apologise, I got very excited there. But Rowlands is now on the back of Jarnigan, as Hockley is in the pits to serve his drive stop go penalty. 30 seconds stop go penalty. Very harsh, but the white lines are there at the track for a reason that clearly defines the field of play, and if you try and cut that in any way for your advantage, you will be penalised, as the Lexus feels the need to go defensive on the way into the chicane. One thing, of course, we're not going to see is the Lexus be out-dragged, but it might be out-braked on the way into Ravazza 1. They're coming out of Ravazza 2. The Ferrari needs to have a good exit and get tucked right into the slipstream off that Lexus. There's no way it's going to be out-dragged in a straight line, as look, he tries to break the toe already. He knows he's got that straight line speed and he's trying to maximise that advantage. Look at the Ferrari on the brakes. But it cannot take the curbs, as we've seen time and time again this season. Rowlands not being forgiven by the curbing. This is Chris Cook. He's on the back. Kraft's just got past Cook actually, based on what we can see here. Group of 3 cars. So we've got Herman, Kraft and Cook. As Cook gets a great line through Aqua Minerale and takes the position, taking advantage of Kraft's mistake. But it's not over yet, as Paul Herman looks to have allowed both of them through there. Maybe he's dealing with some tyre wear issues or some damage potentially. But he's decided that he doesn't want any of that. I can't speak, sorry. He wants nothing to do with that battle and letting them go. However, Roland does want something to do with the Lexus. And you can see the Ferrari strength, it's so good on the brakes. It really is amazing how much grip that a Ferrari has under braking. Not an ounce of understeer, but does it have the straight line speed to take advantage of that? He's in better position this time around, but look, the final almost 100 meters off the start finish straight, that Lexus is an absolute rocket ship. It's just untouchable. It really is. Okay, so quick rundown. Dan Clegg still leads and about to start his final lap of the race. Paul Alex 6 seconds behind with Ben Godden in P3. Clements just behind him in 4th. This is a battle for the podium, of course. Lofstrand in 5th. Flores 6th. Rampensberger 7th. Sween 8th. Cook 9th. Kraft has got a drive-through penalty. So he will not be 10th. Hall 11th, Watson, Herman, Cedric, Metzger. Jarnigan, Rollins and Jarnigan are side by side, finally, from the point of view of the Ferrari driver. But they come now down into Ravat, so the Ferrari's got the inside line and will take the corner. But this one, as we know, as we've seen time and time again, watch the Lexus fly as they go past the lap car there on the inside of the start finish straight. That's not what the Lexus would have wanted. But look at it, the Lexus go now. The last 100 metres of the straight, it's so quick. But it looks like that one might be done. Yorkshire Mick in chat telling us what we already know. We see a big yellow dot next to car number 36 in the pit lane. Terrible race 2. Unfortunate, of course, he'll be looking to come back and bounce back from his incredible race 1 performance. Battle still raging on here with Cook, as it looks like he's let Kraft go, but Dan Clegg comes across the line. We've got a car, it looks like it's run out of fuel on the inside there. Paul Alex going to come home in 2nd, it looks like just now. Needs to be very cautious, that car's finally disappeared. Ben Gordon's going to lead the little pack home and take the last podium spot. Clements narrowly missing out. Great performance from Jorgen Rust, racing 4th and 5th, with Flores recovering to P6. Rampensberger is going to just hold off Carl Sween by a 1/10 of a second. Incredible between those two. Kraft's going to hold off Hall, but he's not going to finish there. Cook 11th, Watson heavily damaged BMW in 12th. Amazing performance from Mark Cedric in 2nd. Could have been 1st in class. I'm sure that one we've not heard the end of. Metzger as well as carrying that penalty. He crosses the line in 14th. Rollins in 15th, Jarnigan in 16th, not able to hold on in the end. Van Linter 17th, Hutchings 18th, Dalton again playing a little bit of rally. I think he's back out in the outback, 4-wheel drifting round Ravazza too, but he's going to come across the line in P19. Sammy English bringing the Bentley home for a podium. The big old Bentley takes a big old bronze medal. Archer recovering very well. Currently 21st. They've still got a battle a little bit further behind. That's Hockley and Clark have had a collision on the final corner. Hockley has allowed the Mustang back. They both not wanted to give the position. Look at them. So that one they decided they're going to go down to the steward's room. Bellamancia, Barros, Adenal and Margitis all failed to finish. Woo, what a race. So, quick run, congratulations are in order then to Dan Clegg. Race win and fastest lap again. Paul Alex in second and Ben Gordon third on the track and in class. The Pro-Am podium, Jorgen Lofstrand, Lee Watson and Chris Rowlands, congratulations. And the race 2 AM class podium, Chris Cook, Mark Cedric and Sammy English, congratulations. Another quick break between race 2 and 3. Do not go anywhere, we will be right back with some more high octane action here at TED Trax Tuesdays.
Green light, show them what you got.
Okay everyone, we are back and live again for the final qualifying session of round 5 here at Imola. We are here, if you're just joining us, with Race Club UK TED Trax Tuesdays, and we have had 2 sprint races this evening. This is 1 lap qualifying. This is the final qualifying session which will set the grid for race 3. Dan Clegg has been dominant so far. Will anyone be able to find the pace in their car to displace him? At the very least for qualifying, if not for the final race. Some drivers still choosing to go late in the day, but Dan Clegg has, as always this race, been first out on track and will look to start his lap first. Keep an eye on the driver tracker on the right. Dan Clegg, car number 1. He may encounter some traffic as he starts his first flying lap. So this is Dan Clegg and Max Clegg-Stappen. So I think nearly choked on my chewing gum there. My apologies, I think you absolutely panicked. Max Clegg-Stappen out there coming round Tosa now. Again, keep an eye on the left side of your screen As Clegg comes out almost, no, not Clegg, car looks very similar. That's because they're in the same team, but Ben Gordon almost coming out into the path of a Grello Porsche. Bellamancia there, come yellow flag, car number 29. That's Hockley. Hockley will not be setting a lap time. Flores will be looking to build on the Mustang's impressive pace so far. It's a very busy looking track round about the middle sector. This is Cedric. He's came out with his teammate. As Mick moves out of the way for him there. But Hutchings also still in the pit, so maybe another car, and that is a Mustang just pulling off to the side of the road. That's car number 8, that's Johnny Clark. He'll take no further part in qualifying. Dan Clegg with a 1:42.0. That's 3/10 slower than he managed in the first and second qualifying. So, does that open the door for anyone to take pole position here today? It's not going to be the Ford Mustang of Flores, as he's only 3/10 down. Yellow flags now littering the first sector as drivers pull over after completing the lap. Kraft is still a second off the pace. But this is Paul Alex. We are watching with 33 seconds to go. He's going to take the checkered flag. What can he do? It's not enough. He's still 2.5 tenths down on the time required to take pole position. Is it enough for second to give him a chance down into turn 1? The Aston Martin not being great off the start. Watson goes into P5. That's a great lap for the silver class driver. Jarnigan now in the Lexus, going to be driving to the line. What can he do? He sets a time at the bottom of the grid, unfortunately. Car number 27, that's Archer coming across the line next. What can they do? They come over the grid slots and up into P14. Chris Clements, who we've seen looks to be very quick so far on this round. What can he manage in the BMW? Where does he go? He's jumped up near the top. He's in P4. Look how close it is round about that area. Off the grid. Barros now hurtling towards the line. What can the Pink Panther do? Up into P6, big gap between 6th and 7th. Now close, almost battling there between Sween. That's Francossi, I believe. Sween and Francossi getting very close. And the American will be disappointed with the track management potentially there. But it's another pole position for Dan Clegg. He takes the hat trick this evening with 3 pole positions, putting him in place to take a hat trick for 3 race wins. Paul Alex lines up in second, and the Mustang of Flores will start in third. Clements 4th, Rampensberger 5th, Sween 6th, Barros 7th, Rollins 8th, Kraft 9th, Watson 10th, Herman, Lofstrand, Cedric, Metzger, Van Linter, Bellamancia, Jarnigan, Adenal, Francossi and Archer are the drivers who set times. Now everyone else this time will be in the hands of the sim racing gods to be decided where they start. It looks like it's going to be Margitas, Dalton, Cook, Johnston, Godin. Godin didn't set a lap. Oh wow. Hutchins, Hall, English, Clark and Hockley is the order. as we await there's a green flag to get us underway for the final race this evening. Quick stories to go through then for this race. Things to look out for. Rollins has now finally got himself to the front of the Pro-Am grid. He'll start in P8 but around some very frustrated company in Jack Craft, Barros and Sween. Cedric's finally found himself on pole as well. He's got a big gap to the other AM class drivers. 5 Pro-Am drivers between him, so he may be under pressure as the race gets underway. Look to see Hockley and Gordon and Hall try and navigate themselves through the pack off this one lap qualifying. The way that the one lap qualifying has reshuffled the grid this season really has led to some incredible racing for these sprint races. As we now await Dan Clegg to get us underway for the last time here at Imola. We should be ready to go round about now. Track temperature air temperature 25 degrees, track 31, so cooler than race 1 but still nice, hot and sticky and grippy. This is turn 1, we see a little kink on the way into the corner there. You need to get the turning point spot on and watch those sausage curbs. They can really dislodge the car's grip. It can be very tricky, as you see from Watson's point of view as well. Let's get a lower down car. There's the Honda. Turn 3 is an acceleration zone, or should be if you've set the car up correctly. This is on board the Trax racing car on the way into Villeneuve chicane. Braking point round about the curb. You turn the car in, and again you want to watch that sausage curb, but you can cut that sausage curb there on the inside of the second part if you get your right wheels on the inside of it. It's when the left wheels or the right wheels hit it, you've got a problem. This is the run into Tosa as we watch Belamantia ghost through the BMW in front. Want to get a late apex to maximise the exit up the hill into Piratella, which we're going to see from the eyes of Jorgen Lofstrand. So Piratella, the right kink over the crest, and we want to brake around about 50 to 60 metres out and just turn the car in off throttle, let the car grip up and then gently reapply the throttle, and away you go. Van Linter's going to show us the run down to Aqua Minerale. This is one of the trickiest corners. You need to hold the brakes just right to get the car rotated, but enough pressure to get the car slowed down for the tighter right-hander. It doesn't get much more technical than that around here. Jarnigan now approaching the Variante Alta with the high sausage curves. As we now get ready to bunch up for the start of race 3. Paul Alex again in the Aston Martin on the right hand side of the track. On the left of your screen now, Dan Clegg on the right. The green Mustang of Flores alongside Clements, 3rd and 4th. Row 3's Rampensberger and Sween. As we await the final race of Ted Trax Tuesday's round 5 here at Imola, live on Race Club UK's YouTube channel. The heat has came back with a vengeance, and Dan Clegg is not letting up as we wait the green flag.
Green light, green light.
And we are green, green, green. We're underway. It's another incredible start for Sween. Almost a reactive move there from Clements. It looks like the Mustang's going to move up, try and take the Aston Martin on the inside. The door banging a little bit further back again. The Lamborghini not doing the curbs well, and Roland is facing the wrong way. That's not going to do their championship any good as he moves further back throughout the field. Lofstrand's done well up front, but again it looks like Dan Clegg has pulled away from Paul Alex. Rampensberger's up into P3, Clements in 4th, Sween in 5th, and Barros with an incredible start in the Pink Panther up the grid. A little bit further back, we're getting a little bit tasty indeed as Cook, Bellamancia and Jarnigan go side by side into Piratella, and they're all over the place as Godin gets himself involved in the action, and Godin's hit a Honda NSX. That's Michael Adenau, and Godin is smashed into a head-on collision. Absolute chaos at lap 1. That's Tom Hockley straight into the front of Ben Godin, and when the league coordinator and primary sponsor have a head-on collision like that, you've got to question what is going to be the result of that one in their meeting in the morning. But as we come over to start the start of lap 2, it is Dan Clegg leads by 6/10 of a second. Flores a further 8/10 behind Rampensberger in P4. A little bit further back at the action. Nobody's really making moves down into turn 1. Oh, Bellamancia has been off. And Hockley has made it back to the pits. Ben Godin jumped to the pits, and Adenau has somehow still decided to stay out there. Yellow flags, car number 79. That looks like Francosi. It is indeed Francosi, who was leading the AM class charge, has now conceded that to Cedric. Flores is on the back of Paul Alex now. This Mustang has been absolutely relentless this evening. And we're not finished yet, says Flores. Another driver who looks very racy this evening, just not being able to put it together off the start, is Barros in the Pink Panther. He's now going under pressure on the way into Tamburello, but managed to hold off the charge of Kraft on this occasion. This is such a good battle. And they've got Herman, who looks to maybe get involved in this action, but nothing on this stage. But Barros runs a little bit wide. That might compromise his speed. He takes the inside line into the hairpin up the hill, but it looks like Kraft might be struggling on traction in that Lamborghini. Of course, we know it's a quick car. We know it's quick almost everywhere, but it does look to struggle around here. They're all running in close proximity to each other. They need to be very careful. The concentration required not to run into the back of another when they're this close together is quite high. They come now into Ravazza 1. They look to have now found the rhythm at least. interesting here. We've got Ben Godden rejoining the race, and he's going to rejoin into the path, potentially, off the leaders as they come through. Clements on the back of, so Sweden's got through past Clements, it looks like. Well, this looks interesting here as well, because Cook has got Dalton all over his backside. Dalton tries to throw it down the inside, and Cook down into Tamburillo, but he's gotten deep. He's gone very deep, and that's going to impact his exit speed for the run into Villeneuve, and there's two cars off. That's Bellamance, and I think Hall in the background. So Dalton's maybe held up Cook slightly, because Cook's gone sideways, and now Clark under pressure from the Australian as the Ferrari driver tries to swing round the outside of Toza. They're side by side going up the hill. The Ferrari got a better exit, but the grunt of that muscle car almost pushing. And through that opened the door for Cook to go down the inside of Piratella. Cook sneaks through and is not overdone. He takes the place back, and Cook almost pushing the Mustang through Aqua Minerale on this occasion as well. This is the battle for 7th. This is Barros with Clark, sorry, Kraft just behind. Herman, Watson, Lostran and Metzger all can line astern on the way through into turn 1. They come now, only 4/10 of a second separate, but it's maybe a little bit too much to try a dive down the inside. Roland's of course trying to recover. What's happened to Dalton? Dalton's maybe made a mistake or been off somewhere. He was right in amongst the battling. That's unfortunate to see. So this is the battle for the lead of Pro-Am. Herman in the blue and yellow Porsche, the Fallout delivery style Porsche, with Watson tucked in behind, and then Lostran. Metzger looks to be joining the back of this little ding-dong as well. These three putting in a... Again, this is what we're talking about, so much concentration required. To look back the way here from Watson. Now that BMW, the blue BMW, misses his braking point by 5 metres. That's a big accident. So it really does take good concentration, but we can see now Lostran almost got his lasso round the back of that big rear wing and pulling himself forward, and he has missed his braking by about 5 metres and nearly hits the back of the Porsche. That's compromised him on the exit of Ravazza too, and now there's going to be a huge pocket of air, that slipstream effect, a big hole being punched in the air by Herman, and that's going to... It's actually Watson who's gained from that. Almost like the DRS train that you hear about in Formula 1. Now Paul Alex has closed right onto the back of Dan Clegg. Max Clegg-Stappen looks like he might have a problem. Of course, ever the showman, he might just be trying to get himself some TV time after my comments the other week. The Englishman is in a tight battle now with the Aston Martin. They're as close as they've ever been. This is the battle for the lead. We're 10 minutes in, we're halfway through the race. Alex is all over the bag. This is the battle for P1 as they come through Variante Alta, and Clegg's pushing so hard he smashes over those curbs on corner exit. But it doesn't look to have impacted Clegg's ability to keep the lead. On board now with the Aston Martin. It is a quick car, of course, in a straight line. But the BMW, we think, does have just a little bit more grunt. Let's see what happens as they come down the main straight. It's still 0.25 seconds between them. Clegg feels the need to go slightly defensive on the way into the Tamburello chicane as the Aston Martin now bounces over the curbs. Hopefully doesn't lose too much, because this is the best action we've seen at the front of the grid all race. Action, of course, all the way through the grid. I'm just double checking because a lot of drivers are positioned very closely together. The battle for the lead in Pro-Am still rages on. And this is the close situation here. We've got a Ferrari flying straight over Tamburello chicane. The Ford Mustang is able to retain position, as is Rowland, and Bellamancia squeeze through, and Hall is not having the best race. It does have to be said. Hall struggling back there. Again, this is what happens in the multi-class racing. You wind up in a position where you're just amongst drivers who don't drive the same as you. As Rowland now is letting Bellamancia pass, but tries not to let the Dalton behind through, but he's ran wide. All four of them running wide. And this really is an intense battle. The helicopter will try and pick them up on the way into Variante Alta. Dalton runs wide on the way in, and fortunately for him, at least is safe on this occasion. What battling we're having here. And again, on the way down now into turn 1. This time Clegg not feeling the need to try and defend his position. Alex is not going to let Clegg drive away with this one as easily as he's driven away in the last couple of races. Again, these three now side by side, but it's Watson who comes out in first in the Pro-Am category just now. 7 minutes and 30 seconds of racing remaining. Can Herman and Lofstrand do anything to fight back? Can Metzger find their way up to that as well? A close battle here. This is Hall on the back of Michael Adenau. Adenau again goes defensive on the way into Tamburello, car 27. And we've got Bellamancia spinning backwards onto the track, hitting. Oh no, that's really bad. That's bad. If you're off track, you need to be holding your brakes and acting predictably for the cars behind. That's not good to see. And Franciosi will not be happy with that one. Either will Hutchings. That at the rear of the grid. At the front of the grid, Clegg is still being hounded by Paul Alex. As Alex gets a little bit wide, that's not going to help his case. As Clegg appears to have now composed himself the gap, now a second after that mistake. This is take two, the lead for the Pro-Am class. These drivers being pulled along almost now by the Trax racing car of Kraft, but they're still as they were on the way through the Tamburello chicane. Johnny Clark's had an issue, he's lost the position to Cook. And Rowlands is looking very racy after they're trying to come back through the field after their incident at turn 1. He bounces over the curbs. Manages to keep it within the track though, of good car control, as Hall finally makes his way past Adenau on the way into Tamburello. Fair play to Ben Gordon, he's still out there, he's still going to be driving, he's still going to collect his points. Hockley, however, is sitting in the pits, and that's unlikely to be the same case. These three again are just absolutely not let up on the way now into Variante Alta. And Lofstrand's got himself in front of Herman as Watson flies over the curbs on exit, and through goes Lofstrand into the Pro-Am lead. But Watson under pressure now as the Porsche goes down the inside into Ravazza. One, he's went so deep and just misses the back of Jürgen Lofstrand's BMW, and luckily no further contact happened there. Herman now down into 4th in class, I think just behind Mr. Cedric. Oh, what action. 4 minutes remain here at Trax Tuesdays round 5 with Race Club UK. It's been absolute action from end to end. Paul Alex is still managing to keep Dan Clegg honest. 1.4 separate the battle for the lead. Flores, incredible performance in the Ford Mustang muscle car. In 3rd just now, holding off Rampensberger and Carl Sween. We've seen the Porsche begin to lose speed around about this time in the other races, while Clements begin to make some inroads. Car 36 is shown as yellow flags. That's Michael Adenal at the Tamburello chicane as Hutchins just went through. Franciosi's a little bit further back. That's not going to be a move that happens. A huge crash. That's Roland's Hall, and I think Clark potentially involved in a 3-way crash as Rollins has jumped to the pits. That's going to allow Pete Dalton through to take a couple of positions. This little battle now for silver still rages on the Pro-Am category. Lofstrand still leads Watson, leads Metzger, and Herman is 4th in that class. The gap's closed down again. We're 2 minutes out off way from the checkered flag as Paul Alex does his very best to reel in the race leader off Dan Clegg. A little bit further behind as well, the Grello Porsche is beginning to close up to Rampensberger. So Rampensberger maybe now the one struggling, the one feeling the pressure in the McLaren. And you can see the Porsche looks to be driving a little faster at this time. But up front, it's so close between Clegg and Alex. They were so close to touching coming through Aqua Minerale. As Clegg takes a big curb on the way into Variante Alta. You can do that, you can get away with it. Clements has lost a position to Barros. Barros has taken that position just now. You have to think this will be the last opportunity for Paul Alex to make the move down into turn 1. He's going to get a slipstream again. But the gap looks even bigger than before. This might be a tall order, but we'll stick with the Aston Martin because he's going to do everything he can to make that courageous leap. No, he's not. He's just a little bit too far back. He's going to live to fight another day and hopefully find another way through later on in the lap. Carl Sween's going to be, unfortunately for him, forced to do the same thing. Clements has been lost the position to Barros. Kraft has held on. Metzger now under pressure from Herman. Same story back there, but Jarnigan, of course we know just how quick the Lexus is, but the Porsche is almost on the rear wing. So that Lexus will be punching a huge hole in the air for the Porsche. As they approach Tamburello now, the Porsche doesn't think about it. The Lexus has to brake early, takes a lot of curb. They're going to be compromised, but they both fly over the sausage curbs, and that's allowed the Lexus to maintain position. Up at the front, Paul Alex has not been able to make further inroads into the back of Dan Clegg. The checkered flag is now out. Carl Sween on the back, huge jump over the curbs, and Rampensberger has lost the position. He's off track. They're side by side. They're going to come down into Tamburello. Sorry, into Vavazza. The McLaren thinks about it down the inside. Sween leaves the gap. Up front, it's going to be Dan Clegg, who takes a hat-trick of wins here at Imola. Paul Alex finishes 0.3 of a second behind. Flores is in third place, and it's going to be Carl Sween who takes fourth from Rampensberger in fifth. Barros is going to, I don't know, less than 1/10 of a second. The Pink Panther just sneaks ahead of Chris Clements. Jack Kraft finishes in P8 in the lead Trax racing car. Jorgen Lofstrand leads home Watson and Metzger and Herman in the silver Pro-Am class, and it's another win for Mark Cedric in Am. Van Linter comes across the line, leading home Jarnigan and Cook, who takes second in class. Dalton struggles home in third with a heavily damaged Ferrari. It's been a day to forget for Hall. Johnny Clark in the Mustang is going to come home in ninth and take a well-deserved podium in Am class. Hutchings coming home in 20th. Adenauer has been a soldier this evening, and he soldiers on home and takes 21st. Frank Yossi, still recovering from the contact earlier on, is the last man on track, and will be the man who brings us home on the live broadcast this evening. And across the line, and that is the end of round 5 here at Trax Tuesdays Race Club UK's season 11. What a race we've had this evening. A triple win, triple pole position and triple fastest lap for Dan Clegg at one of his strongest tracks. Felipe Barros leading home Clements by less than 1/10 of a second. And a double win for Mark Cedric in the Perel Honda, furthering his charge in the Am Class Championship. It's been an amazing race here at Imola, and I cannot wait for what the rest of the season here at Trax Tuesdays is going to show. The championship will take some more turns as we arrive at the legendary Spa-Francorchamps circuit next week, as we try and tackle El Rouge. Will the weather be an issue? Will it come to play? Will we have its typical anything can happen Tuesdays at Spa-Francorchamps? Please join us for then. Between now and then, good luck to the Dutch tomorrow as they look to further their win in the European Championships. Cannot wait to see the Dutch go through into the final. That's enough for me this evening. It's been a credit to have you all with me watching the live stream. I hope you do enjoy it when you watch it back, if you're one of the drivers racing who will inevitably be watching it back. I will see you next time. Until then, have a good night.